Welcome back to Whiteboard Finance. My name is Marko and I'm here to help you master your money and build your wealth. Today we're talking about how much you need in retirement. We're talking about the 4% rule and also the safe withdrawal rate. Okay, so if you're like me, you're probably thinking to yourself, I know I need to save for retirement, but how much? How much do I actually need? What am I shooting for? So the typical rule of thumb is 20 to 25 times your annual salary, okay? And when I say annual salary, that's what you want to earn in retirement, okay? So if you want to live off of 50 grand a year, that'll be 25 times 50K. That's $1.25 million is what you need for your nest egg to be able to pay yourself 50 grand a year for 25 years. Make sense? So at this point, I've already lost half of you because half of you are like, how the hell am I going to save up 1.25 million? And the other half of you are thinking, hey, I may need more or less than $50,000 a year to live on. So again, you guys, this is personal finance. It's all personal to us. I'm able to live off of 50 grand based on where I live. If you live in LA or New York, you may need 150. This is all proportional. So again, what we're going to be talking about is how to actually use the 4% rule so that we never have to go below our principal sitting in that retirement account. So what is the 4% rule? So let's say that you have a 401k, okay, and you're about to retire. In this 401k, you have $450,000, and you also opened up a Roth IRA a few years ago because you've been watching and listening to Whiteboard Finance. And in that Roth IRA, you have $50,000. So in both of these accounts, we have $500,000, okay? The 4% rule is actually what dictates us to be able to take out 4% of whatever this retirement account is without actually touching the principal. So we're living off of 4% every year, and that's getting replenished every year. So how is this getting replenished? The stock market has typically done 6 to 10% historically in returns. So think about it logically, you guys. If you have a retirement account and you're taking out 4% every year to live off of, you're actually going to make it up by the returns in the market, okay? The 6 to 10% is greater than the 4% you're taking out. So not only are you living on that, you're actually making some money as well by the end of the year. So let's look at a real life example here. So again, we'll use this $500,000 that we've set aside, we've saved up for many years, and we're ready to enjoy retirement. So if you take this $500,000, okay, multiply it by 0.04, that's 4%, that comes out to be $20,000, okay? So again, this is all personal, you guys. You may be able to live off of 20 grand, you may need more, so you need to save more for retirement. However, this 4% again gives us a cushion to be able to take this money out but still be able to live and not touch our principal payment. So when you account for this 500 grand, you're subtracting 20, becomes $480,000, okay? So let's say we took this 20 grand out on January 1st, 2020, okay? We're taking out at the beginning of the year in one lump sum. Normally you wouldn't do that. You would take out the average of whatever you want and pay yourself monthly and live off that. But we're going for an extreme scenario here. I'm taking this out all on January 1st. So this $480,000 has all of 2020 to grow and realize that 6 to 10% growth that we've talked about, okay? So if we take $480,000 times 1.06, that 6 is coming from here, the 6% growth in the market, this now becomes $508,800 by December 31st, 2020. Does that make sense? So not only have we lived on this 20 grand a year, our 480 has actually grown to be this amount by the end of the year, okay? So I don't have this math, I'm not doing this in my head, I actually have it written down, but I just want to make sure we're covering all our bases here. So now let's think about this logically. We all know that inflation exists, okay? So we know that inflation is typically 2 to 3% per year. So now with the 4% method, you can actually afford to pay yourself a 2% raise every year. So how is this possible? So let's do the math. So let's take the number that we have. This is the end of the year 2020 that we just figured out. Okay. And now we take the 20 grand. That was the 4% from last year. That was our $20,000. We take the 20K and multiply it by 1.02. That 2 is our 2% increase, our 2% raise. So now this 20K becomes $20,400. We've now adjusted for inflation. So we're no longer earning $20,000, we're earning $20,400. So now let's do the math on this. If you take this $508,000 minus the $20,400, so let's do 508 minus 20,400. Basic math tells us that we have $488,400. So now this $20,400, we've taken this out on January 1st, 2021, and now this $488,000 has all this entire year to grow by that 6 to 10% that we talked about earlier, okay? So now even if you figure you're taking out 2% more to give yourself a raise to hedge against inflation, you take this 488.4, and if you multiply that again by 1.06, that actually gives you your starting number for the next year, which is actually greater. It's going to be $517,704 on December 1st, 2021. So you started with 500 grand, you've lived for 2 years, you've given yourself a 2% raise, and now your nest egg has actually grown by $17,000. Do you now see how powerful that this 4% rule is? Obviously, this is accounting for 6% growth in the market every year. Are you going to achieve that every year? Absolutely not. Are you going to go negative some years? Absolutely. However, there have been studies done, and this has been studied numerous times, that over the course of 33 years, okay, there has never been a big enough fluctuation in the market on the downside to eat up someone's entire principal, to eat up this entire principal that they start with. So there's never been a streak of that long. And typically when people go into retirement, let's call it their late 50s, early 60s, most of them don't outlast 33 years. So you're living off of your nest egg without ever touching your principal. Does that make sense? And now if you extrapolated this number out 30 years, okay, so how we started on 2020, let's say it's the year 2050, this number is actually like 700 something thousand if you keep, earning 6% year over year. So not only have you lived for those 30 years, you've actually never touched your principal. You've actually grown your money by $200,000 plus, okay? So now me personally, now that I know this math, I'm probably going to be conservative. I'll probably be taking out, 4 to 5% a year with my safe withdrawal rate using that 4% rule. And I'm going to be buying Benzes, Beamers, mansions. No, I'm just kidding. That's something you can't do. You cannot take huge chunks and you have to be super disciplined. So you really do have to live off that 4%. So that's the only caveat to this, and obviously market conditions aside. So hopefully you got some value out of this video, you guys. If you did, please give this video a like and share it with one person who values their retirement. Thank you so much and have a prosperous day.